You didn't know anything about this case on the news following the shooting on February 26th, prior to your interview with Mr. Crump on March 19th?
No, sir. I had told you that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch the news.
And no one else told you that
No,
there was a
sir.
lot of noise about this being a racially charged event?
No, sir.
So when you answered Mr. Crump's question, that's not on the recording, what you think about it being a racially charged event, you said yes, it was.
Yes, sir.
And what did you base your answer that you thought it was a racial thing? What information did you base that on?
Because how the situation happened.
Tell me, what is it about this event specifically that convinced you it was racially based?
Trayvon was being followed, and it was around 7, and it's not that late. And it's in the rain. Like, come on now.
It is in the rain.
It's in the rain. It's raining.
All right, so it's raining,
Yes.
and he's out by himself walking around,
Yes.
and
Not walking around, just standing under a shade when it's raining.
you don't really know what he was actually doing, do you?
Under a shade, yes.
You don't actually know that, do you?
I know when I asked him where he at. He told me he's under a shade
Right.
in the mountain area.
So what you know about this whole event is what Mr. Martin told you and what you interpreted it to mean.
Objection, argumentative, that's the question.
Overruled.
Repeat your question. again.
Sure. That you didn't see anything, you weren't there.
No.
You still don't know where the mail thing is, or where any of the streets are, or where on the map Trayvon Martin was staying, correct?
No.
You don't know how far the man was from him at any given point in time.
He wasn't that far because Trayvon told me that the man was is watching him.
Right. So, before I lose track here, everything that you've told us is based upon whatever Trayvon Martin told you that you can remember,
Yes.
and then what you interpreted it to mean.
Yes.
So when you say it's a racial event,
Yes.
what did he tell you that made you think it was a racial event?
Somebody just watching him, and then he described the person that was watching him and following him, and that was kind of strange. That a person keep watching you and following you,
So he
like
said,
he being stalked,
I'm sorry.
like he's being stalked from that person.
what makes that racial?
That wouldn't make that racial. It was made that racial.
What's one thing about what Trayvon Martin told you that made you think this was racial?
Describing the person.
Pardon me?
Describing the person.
I just didn't.
Describing the person that was watching him and following him.
I see.
Sir.
Describing the person is what made you think it was racial?
Yes.
And that's because he described him as a creepy-ass cracker?
Yes.
So it was racial, but it was because Trayvon Martin put race in this.
No.
You don't think that's a racial comment?
No.
You don't think that creepy-ass cracker is a racial comment?
No.
Well, you didn't mention it in your letter, correct?
That's just a personal letter to the mama.
All right, you didn't tell Miss.
That's just a personal letter to the mother.
You didn't tell Miss Fulton that the man that was following him was a creepy-ass cracker, did you?
No.
You didn't tell Mr. Crump in the recorded interview that Trayvon Martin described George Zimmerman as a creepy ass cracker.
No.
And when you met with Mr. Della Rionda for the first time on April 2nd, 2012, you never told him in your interview that Trayvon Martin said a creepy ass cracker was following him.
No, I did say creepy, sir.
Yes, I agree. You did say creepy.
Yes.
So the reason you didn't say that, though, was because you didn't think it was relevant?
Nobody asked me. You come ask me what exactly that Trayvon said that night about the person that was following him and watching him. That's what you asked me when I met up with you.
So never before I met with you in March did you ever tell anyone exactly what you heard Trayvon Martin say? Correct?
About the person, describing the person?
Yes, in any of the interviews where you were asked what was said, what happened next.
What was said, yes, I did. What, by describing him, no, I did not. I
You
just
said
said creepy. The only
some
thing-
dude's following.
One at a time, because the court reporter has to take down both voices. If you'll allow her to please finish her answer. Are you finished with your answer?
Yes.
Okay, you may ask your next question.
Of course you wouldn't say it to Sabrina Fulton because it was offensive. Correct?
Yes, that was disrespectful.
Pardon
That
me?
was disrespectful.
Of
if
course
I
it
said
was,
to
yes.
him.
You may not consider it a racial comment, but it's
No.
certainly offensive, isn't it?
No,
You don't think calling someone a creepy-ass cracker is offensive?
no,
So, but you specifically chose not to tell Ms. Fulton that's what Trayvon Martin said,
no,
because you thought it would hurt her feelings, didn't you?
no,
You didn't think that would bother her if you said that her son described the man that was following him in a car on the phone
I didn't think
was
that
a
was
creepy-ass
important.
cracker?
I did not think that was important.
Not important enough to put in the letter, and
No.
not important enough to tell her.
Objection has been answered.
Okay. Can we move on to another topic?
Just to be clear then, you didn't include that in the letter, and you didn't include it in the conversation you had on March 19th with Ms. Fulton.
No,
And when you were interviewed by Mr. Crump later that day, you didn't say it.
no,
And then you were interviewed but you did say to Mr. Crump that you thought the event itself was a racial thing.
yes, he had asked me, and I said yes.
And I was asking you then, what made you think that? And then you were saying just because of the description. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
The description being there was a man on the phone in a car watching him.
yes.
And you met,
follow
you,
him.
pardon me?
And follow him,
Right, so you took that to be racial
yes,
without any additional information.
no,
On April 2nd, you had an opportunity to meet with the prosecutor, correct?
yes,
Up until that point, you had never spoken with law enforcement.
no,
Even following your interview with Mr. Crump, you didn't then go to the police.
no,
Even after hearing part of your interview on national television, or hearing about it, you didn't go to the police.
no,
And apparently the police hadn't contacted you.
no. They were trying to find me.